Oh, no, no, no. Gosh, no.
Prairie City Council will now come to order. Our May 28th meeting, it's 6:09 PM. Ms. Johnson, if you would certify the form, please.
Councilman Rowland,
Present.
Councilman Randall,
Here.
Mayor Allen,
Here.
Councilman Jones,
Here.
Councilwoman Williams,
Here.
Councilman Wallace.
Present.
If we could stand, if Dr. Fuller, if you would grace us with a brief invocation.
Oh. Dear Lord, we ask thy blessings upon us as we again gather here in City Hall. We ask the blessings upon those that are not able to be with us here tonight, and also good health for all of us attending and for those that are not able to be with us tonight. We give this praise in thy name. Amen.
Amen. And for the pledge of allegiance, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we've got a presentation on expanding the ETJ. Councilman Randall.
So this is actually supposed to be a presentation done by Attorney Zach. Basically what it's pertaining to is about beginning the process about expanding the city's borders. As we know, Hempstead and Waller are growing vastly, and they're going to start seeking to expand their ETJ, and I think we need to be proactive with securing our city's borders. But Attorney Zeph is going to give a presentation about what that process looks like, but he's not here, so I'm going to ask this to be moved to the next agenda when he be present.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded that the presentation on expanding the ETJ be rolled over to the next city council meeting. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right. Ayes have it. Ashley Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Ashley Jackson. I am a senior social work major at Prairie View. I do reside in Panther Hill Apartments, so yes, I'm back. Just like I said, so I received an update from a resident yesterday, and she actually got to tour some of the newer buildings, and the rooms are still small. The showers are different. That was an improvement. But the rooms are still small. Some residents even feel now that they live in a jail cell. Also, some of the newer buildings have mold in them already, and they haven't even been occupied. So that's a big issue, mold. Why do these new buildings have mold in them already? What's going on? Can somebody answer that? Nobody's been able to answer that. These issues have been going on since August of 2018. It's getting ready to be June, and these things are still going on. So once again, I'm challenging the city council to find out what you can do. What you can do. Keep saying what you can't do. Let us know what you can do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Isis Collins.
How's it going? My name is Isis Collins. This is my second city council meeting. I came to the last one that we had and had some observations, took some notes about things that were in the agenda as well as remarks made on the stand. And I heard a lot about investing in Prairie View. I heard a lot about excitement, about expanding James Hughes Parkway, and also the mayor saying he brought in more students than anyone else. There was hardly any discussion from the mayor about student issues and students' concerns. There's also been, of course, a great amount of promotion of an unsafe environment, Panther Hill. from the mayor himself. And I heard a problem about communicating with citizens, wind blowing
Hold on just a
notices
second,
off the door.
Hold on just a second. That's somebody's cell phone?
Okay. That's-
Okay.
I heard about miscommunications with citizens, about notices blowing off doors. Just a lot of crazy things, like no city engineer for 8 months. I'm just shocked that in a community that's economically driven by students, this is supposed to be a college town. It's Prairie University is the keystone to this city, but students have no type of last agenda. There was nothing about students in there. And I see on this one, the very last line that we're gonna discuss tonight is about Panther Hill, the very last. So I asked that if we live in a city that is supposed to be a college town, why isn't there more for you guys to help the students, to help the city grow? How can a city grow if you guys aren't going to help the students grow as students and help us build the community? Because I promise you, there's no problem with students wanting to help this city grow. You have Texas A&M, you have all these other college towns where students, you have other college towns where students are heavily involved and they get what they need from the city. But how can a city grow if students aren't helped? We need help. We don't have safe housing. We don't have enough housing. We don't have a lot. And for this school to be here for so long, it just doesn't make sense why. There's so much about development. There's so much about this and that. But what about the students, the people that make the town? And that doesn't go to down anybody who's not students, but most people have came here and lived here because they want students. So the mayor and also city council should take into consideration that students need to have more say-so on what goes on in the city. And in order to help the city grow, you have to help the students. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Marshall Brown?
Good afternoon to the mayor, council, citizens of Prairie. I come to speak about a very dangerous thing that's going on in the city, and that is cement dust from the plant across the track. And there's so much dust coming across that plant that I'm sure it's all over your car. You might think it's coming from somewhere else, but that's where it's coming from. Drive down that street and you'll see what's going on. All the shrubbery is covered with cement dust. The road is covered with cement dust. They have enlarged the plant. Now the process is the Environmental Protection Agency in Austin will send out a report to the city when the plant gets ready to get a renewal. So far, they've been renewed 2 or either 3 times, and the report went to the city of Hempstead because it's 77445. In fact, it's in the library over there, and they refused to let me see it, so I had to call Austin in order to see the report. Now, what's going on is that we don't have an environmental protection committee in the city. We had a citizens committee that took them to court. We went to Austin 3 or 4 times to the meetings, but we did not have a representative from the city to be a part of this. So now we can call up the people from Houston and they'll come out and write them up, and then they'll go right back to doing what they did. Now they've enlarged that plant. It's 4 times larger than it used to be when they first applied. Now cement dust is like a fine face powder. It gets into your skin and eventually it can give you a disease or either lung cancer. This is what you see them advertising on television. So people have been working in the industry where they're using asbestos and stuff like that. It's similar to that. I think that the city should create an environmental protection officer for the city, and that we have a citizens committee to work with that committee to help them to do something to control things. Now, the lady that's working over there agreed that she would meet with us and try to negotiate some things. The meetings that we've had in the past, and we're looking forward to meeting with her. We think that she may be able to try to help us. In past years, they have agreed to put up a fence like you see around a tennis court. It's got a windscreen on it and knocks down the dust and that kind of thing. Now something else is going on that's related to that. We're talking about streets, and I think drainage goes with the streets. All the drainage comes from all parts of the city and it crosses under the track right there in front of the cement plant. And it's not going anywhere because between the ready mix and the cement plant, somebody's blocking off the water from going across the natural flow of the water. Now there is a law in the state of Texas that says you cannot interfere with the natural flow of the water, and they have done that. So we need to take some action. We're just sitting here like just let them do whatever they want to, and we don't respond or stand up for our rights. And I think it's time for us to get some backbone, stand up and do what's right for the citizens of Prairie.
Not this time, right?
Councilman Day, could I ask you a question or no?
No, not on citizen comments.
Dr. Peter Brown?
I would like to say good evening to members of the City Council, the mayor, and all the wonderful, beautiful citizens of Prairie View, including our new chief. I have a very, very critical concern that I'm bringing forth to you today that was just brought to my attention 2 days ago. And that has to do with the Alta Vista 2 development. And it was brought to my attention, and I didn't know this, that there was student housing being built to the tune of about 500 beds, which means that you're going to have 500 human beings going in and out of Alta Vista every day. Now, if you've been out to Vista, I've been there, you have a whole room full of people who live there. There's a smaller entranceway to get into Alta Vista, and there's a smaller entranceway to get out. When that subdivision was developed, it was developed basically for professors and people who were employed by the university, professional people who actually pay property tax. And it's unfortunate, we have Miss Katrina Harris, she has kids there. There's another resident that has children there. Though right now those children play in their backyard and front yard, but imagine 500 cars coming in and out of Alta Vista, and it's just a circle. Mr. Anderson over here, he lives right on the corner of the exitway and the entranceway. Ms. Kendricks lives right there too. Our senior citizens, Ms. Webster is the president of the Alta Vista Homeowners Association, and it's a major problem. We talk about student safety, and that's a good thing to have a conversation about and be concerned about, but we have a whole community of people, adults, some of them senior citizens, who live there, who have a safety issue that you need to look at. Now, why am I talking about Alta Vista? Because whatever goes in and out of Alta Vista has to pass down by my street, pass in front of my street. Right, because you can only get into Alta Vista one way, and you have to pass my house to do that. So if you got 500 cars going in and out of Alta Vista, guess where those 500 cars have to pass by? My house. You've already narrowed the street University Drive, which makes it less convenient for the traffic, but that's a major problem. My suggestion for the solution, because I don't like to get up and complain about problems. I was raised in a household where my dad told us, if you have a problem that you bring to me, also bring a possible viable solution. My solution is, since that area is accessible to 1098 by the post office, that you all should find out who owns that land, talk with the developer to make a deal with that person to build a big access road on the back. That would work out good for the people who are affiliated with the university who would be living there, students, because it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from campus. They wouldn't have to wear out Alta Vista, put the residents and the children at jeopardy because of that increase in traffic. These are things that should be looked at when you're planning. I know that someone told me developers buy property, they tell you they're gonna do one thing with it. They can do whatever they wanna do with it once they purchase it and it belongs to them. So I'm asking that you all, with the same level of diligence and rigor that you've pursued the safety issues for the students at Panther Hill, that you take that same level of energy, rigor, enthusiasm, sense of duty, protection of the city's liability in the issue, and do something about the safety issues with our citizens in Alta Vista. Like I said, my solution is to have the developer construct a road across from the post office that's easily accessible for the residents in that area, in the new area, Alta Vista too. And it takes the burden or the concern of safety off of the residents who live in Alta Vista. And I said there are children there, there are older people there that are used to a peaceful and quiet neighborhood, and that should be respected. And I'm sure that each one of you agree that that's a vital, critical concern. Just nod your head. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Peter.
Item 1, discussion and possible action on the approval of city council meeting minutes, May 13, 2019. What's council's pleasure?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Randall.
I move to approve the city council meeting minutes dated May 13, 2019.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that city council approve the meeting minutes dated May 13, 2019. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right. Ayes have it. Item 2, discussion and possible action to provide direction on the drafting of a resolution adopting a policy regarding spending within the budget. Councilman Rowland.
I want to ask Attorney Zach is not here, and then and JJ. You were supposed to get some. This is the third month.
Yeah, well, okay. To address that, Councilman, the way the budget is constructed, it is constructed by line item, and those line items are down to the finite detail. What I would ask you guys to do, that if you feel that you need us to disseminate a line item into more line items, then that's what I need you guys to do.
So what you were supposed to, what you said you were going to get to us is the breakdown in it, because we're looking at the policy, not necessarily the numbers in the budget right now. So we're trying to address spending within the budget. So, for example, if we have $10 in the police department and we spend $11, what does the policy say in reference to spending? So we want to make sure that our policies line up with our actions. So it's not all you. Part of it is Attorney Zach, but you're supposed to be giving us some the basis to be able to get a legal guidance to make sure we move forward. And so since we don't have it, I asked for this to be moved to the next agenda item, and also when Attorney Zach is here.
Yeah, I have a request because further down the agenda, there's the item about the workshop. I requested we put this on the agenda after we have the workshop.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll be
So, Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Randall.
I move that we table item number 2 until the meeting subsequently after the financial budget workshop.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that item 2 be tabled until after the budget workshop. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 3, discuss and possible action on approving an ordinance for departmental reports to be placed on the city council agenda. Councilman Rowland.
Again, Mr. Attorney Zach is not here. He had the finalized copy, and what I had just got some information from USW to add to the report in reference to like the number of water and sewer connections monthly. The questions would be on there, kind of new tap, new development. And then I seen on another agenda item, like if there's any major repairs or.
Well, we might be getting off of the item just on the departmental reports.
Right, this is what it is, departmental reports, US Public Works is departmental reports.
I know, but that's not listed. What we're saying is we was discussing approving the ordinance for departmental reports, not a particular.
These are items that are gonna be in the ordinance, that's what this part, this.
So you do have a copy of the ordinance before you, Attorney Zach did draft that?
Yes, we
I
all
just
have
wanna
a
make sure,
copy of
okay.
it, but we're supposed to be coming up with what specific, like, so there can be, we could put 100 items on there. And what we're trying to do is narrow down the information on what we wanna have on our monthly report. And so things that I just read are, there's 10 of them specifically for Public Works, which is which is what we wanna include in the subsequent ordinance that everybody has. But it seems like what we'll just do is ask for this to be moved to the next agenda item, when we'll have the ordinance and all the items, 1 through whatever they are, and then we just either vote to keep it in or take it out. So,
Yeah, so are those items in the proposed ordinance now, or are they gonna be added?
they're gonna be added to the next, they're gonna be, so the proposed ordinance, we have the body of it.
Right.
This specific under Public Works is in a new edition, and that's gonna be in, for us to look at the next meeting, that Attorney Zach needs to look at.
Okay.
So,
Councilman Randall?
Mr. Mayor, I move that item.
So- Could I just, before you move it to the next agenda, just comment per Attorney Zach? So the ordinance as written is how he intends it to stand, and then what Councilmember Rowland is saying is that along with the ordinance, there'll be a policy with more definition in the policy.
Yes.
So he's asking, I believe, that it be moved to the next meeting, so you can do them at the same time?
Right.
I just wanted to make sure everybody,
Okay.
That's correct.
That'll clarify. Thank you, Councilman Randall.
I move that we table item 3 into the next council meeting.
It's been properly moved and seconded that item number 3, discussing possible action on approving an ordinance for departmental reports, be placed on the next city council agenda. You've heard the motion, ready for the question? Question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right. Ayes have it. Motion passed. Item 4, discussion and possible action on a resolution for city council establishing a policy and procedure in regards to the payment and reimbursement of travel and training of city council members. I think that was Councilman Jones, Councilman Williams.
It was, I just asked whether to be put on this, agenda. This is actually Ms. Williams' item, but, yeah, I'll let Ms. Williams take it.
There's supposed to have been some corrections on here, and I don't see that they've been, made by, Attorney Zach, so I'm gonna ask that this be put on the next.
did you get them when they said it with the correction?
My question is, what information, provided along the ordinance would you have like to see changed?
No, he said he was supposed to add something that was not in the original one that he sent out. And so I emailed him back and said, okay. And then I never got it back.
When did you send the email?
I think it must have been Monday maybe.
Following the city council meeting? Because I think I sent the email Wednesday, and that's when I was provided this, ordinance.
And then the latest version of the resolution with the attachment was sent out this afternoon. I'm not sure whether or not it was distributed, but.
Sent out this afternoon, there was no time to review them.
I didn't get it. If it came out this afternoon.
It attached what was already approved, what you approved last time, it just connected it to us.
Because it was just the 20%, right?
That's what I thought, the only thing we were talking about adding.
Was it 20%, and he said that he had sent that in Wednesday. I mean, if Ms. Williams sees any additional things that she would like to do, then I'll move to the next item, but it looks.
I just needed some clarification. It was something that he was gonna change, and I wanted to get clarification that involved the secretary.
Councilman? Mr. Mayor, I move that we table this agenda item till the next meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that item 4, discussion and possible action on a resolution for city council establishing a policy and procedure in regards to the payment and reimbursement of travel and training for city council members be carried over to the next meeting. Heard the motion, ready for the questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right? Ayes have it. Item 5, discussion and possible action on ordinance for permits on clearing land. Councilman Rowland.
Council, you have before you the ordinance that was put back in your packet that we talked about at the last meeting. Other than a few minor changes, meaning if Ms.
Griffin?
Griffin, do you have the ordinance before you?
I do have the ordinance before me, and the recommendation of Attorney Zek at the last meeting was that the city engineer review it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if any engineer has reviewed it.
So, we're gonna do, so should we wait to put,
His recommendation is not to pass this until a city engineer and/or an engineer gives you a recommendation on it.
all right, so then that's, all right, two things. One, we just wanna make sure that the ordinance has, if you look at the first line, has another city in there. I made that, so,
Village of Valenti?
yep. And then, we kinda went through this at the last meeting. I don't know if we, so this is the question. If we pass this as is, you know, where are we at? Because we're asking us to do some things that, we may then have to spend additional money on. And so I'm not,
Well, so his recommendation is basically that you need the input of the city engineer on the ordinance itself to be able to tell how much review would need to be done at each step of the way with an engineer involved. So you can pass it. His recommendation is that you wait until an engineer does it, but you're the city council. He's just recommending that you have an engineer review it prior to passage.
can we get an email on specifically what he wants the engineer to do? So whatever you just said, so if we were gonna meet with an engineer on Friday, we wanna know, we want them to look at this document and look at specifically what you're saying they need to do. I guess there'll be a cost associated with that, so we need to also figure out how much money we wanna allocate not to spend. So JJ, in our engineering budget, or in our budget for engineer, how much do we have any monies available? Now, I'm pretty sure to review a document shouldn't be more than $2,500.
I would say on the high end, that would cover it, but, council, I guess I'm looking at, it says with the provisions of the comprehensive plan for the village of Valente, were those things supposed to be corrected and changed before we go, or it's okay, substantively, if we have an engineer review as is for the substance from the engineering component, that would satisfy what Attorney Zek is.
Yes, and then we can fix the portions of it. I mean, the other question with the city engineer is, this creates a review process that includes the city engineer. So you need an ordinance which can then be utilized.
Yeah.
So we need to
So-
get that done as well.
Our current, this is the issue. Currently, we do not have a policy in place to where if someone comes in, they can, that they have to go through the process and submit a permit to clear land. And what this is supposed to do is to give us an opportunity to say, okay, just like if they were gonna disturb property and they gotta get from TCEQ or some thing from the state, right now, we don't know till after the fact.
Right.
And so, outside of getting the question you're gonna get from me from the engineer and passing this, is there anything else that we need to do?
No, we just need to tweak the Village of Valente, et cetera. The point is that Attorney Zek does not want to be giving you substantive engineering advice that the substance of this ordinance is okay. We're not engineers. So once the substantive issues and the policy issues are set by the council with advice of an engineer, then we'll shape it up legally. But that needs to be done first, and then we'll tweak it legally and make sure that you're okay there.
If it be okay with council, I'll agree to make sure we have an engineer review this, minus the minority scenarios with Village of Valente, things like that. But checking on the substantive things to double check, clearing the land, need to check this, that, the other, and if there's some other things that need to be done, we'll have them pull that out as well.
Sounds good. So we
City,
need to make, postpone to the next, I move that we move item number 5 to the next city council meeting.
it's been properly moved and seconded that item number 5, discussion and possible action on an ordinance for permits on clearing land, be moved to the next city council meeting. You've heard the motion, ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. City council reports. Councilman Rowland.
Good afternoon, citizens. It's an honor and pleasure to continue to serve you. Again, we're just getting prepared for scouts. We went camping last month. We have a scout meeting tomorrow here in this building, and then on Thursday we have a board of review. So we have community citizens who are supposed to be coming out and helping assist. We have Mr. Brown, Ms. Carter, Ms. Alexander, and 2 other people. Mr. Smith will be coming, sitting in for these young men as they go through their board review to advance to the next rank. Again, the goal is to have 3 young men who will become Eagle Scouts by the end of 2019. Thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve.
Councilman Brown.
Good evening. I'll be brief. June 29th, 9 a.m. at Waller High School. I don't think so. That's not soundtrack. June 29th, 9 a.m. Hustle Sports will be hosting this 4th annual Youth Skills Football Camp. So registration is open now. We have 100 slots available for any participants who want to participate. So if you would like that information, go to Hustle Sports Texas, that's tx.com, and register your little person. We feed the kids twice. We're gonna have some surprises this year. We always try to add one element to the camp every year, so we have another element that we're gonna have for the kids. We give backpacks, t-shirts, and we give them free food. So get your little person registered for the camp. We look forward to, age group 5 to 13. So anybody 5 to 13. And so, and just real brief, I just want to touch on the issue that Dr. Brown raised about the Alta Vista subdivision. I just wanted to know that when we found out about it, I guess a month ago, we brought it to the forefront and discussed it in city council meeting a month ago. So it's always a pleasure to serve, and I look forward to helping the city move forward.